What we'd like to do now is we're going to have an opportunity for Dr. Paul to answer some questions. We're going to begin with folks from the press that are here today. If anybody from the press has a question that they'd like to ask the Congressman, please raise your hand, let me know, and this is going to be your opportunity to do that. All right, how about the rest of the audience? Would anybody? Oh, there you go. How about this gentleman with purple tie?
Hi, my name is Carl, and I'm a certified public accountant, and I spend the majority of my time preparing personal and individual tax returns. However, I support you and your position on ending the Federal Reserve and in turn the IRS. So my question to you is this: how do we go about ending the Federal Reserve? Do we have to wait for Congress to repeal the Federal Reserve Act? Could a president lawfully sign an executive order ending the Federal Reserve Charter? Or finally, could we, the people of this great republic, take individual actions to end the Federal Reserve?
Good question. The president couldn't do it with, or at least I as president wouldn't do it as an executive order, because it was a law that was passed. Even though it's unconstitutional, I could conceive of challenge it in the courts, but the courts have always been favorable to, anytime we've challenged it in court, central banking has always, been supported. In what I've written, and since the early 80s being on the Gold Commission, my approach to it is not to close the Fed down in one day, because it would be chaotic, because we are dependent. But what I would legalize is competition. Today, if you as an individual want to compete, and you say, well, the Constitution says gold and silver, I'm going to take my gold coins and silver coins, and we're going to go out and start trading with gold and silver. And I don't know, you've heard the case just recently, somebody tried it, went to prison. And somebody else tried to pay in silver dollars, old silver dollars, because they're on the books, they're still legal tender. He went to prison too. So it's a big problem. But if we had a sensible country that didn't want to turn the Fed down in one day and didn't want to keep sending people to prison, what I would do is introduce, well, I have legislation introduced now, but I would get legislation passed where they would legalize competition. It's sort of like the post office. The post office is permittable. That's more permitted than, of course, the Federal Reserve. But if you don't like the post office, you don't need to close the post office down one day. Just legalize competition in first-class mail and see what happens. But on competing currencies, it means that the legal tender laws would have to be changed. But if you wanted to do it, let's say we have rampant inflation like I expect even next year, if you wanted to deal in a gold or silver currency, especially a savings account in your bank, you'd have to take taxes off it. Because if you go to the bank and you want to buy or cash in some money for quarters, you don't get taxed. But if you take your money to a coin dealer, you have to pay sales tax, and then you pay. And then if the value of the dollar goes down, the nominal value of your gold or silver goes up, you have to pay a capital gains tax. So it's not fair. So I would want to legalize the competition. And actually this idea has made some traction in Mexico, because their middle class has been wiped out quite a few times. And that is really what happens. That's a characteristic of runaway inflation. The middle class gets wiped out. But down there you can save in silver. Our laws today, the current laws that have not been repealed, says that a dollar is 371 1/4 grains of silver, but that's never been repealed. There's not even a law in the book that tells you that Federal Reserve notes are dollars, and that is what has to be done. But what I think could happen if we have chaos in the economy, which is possible when people are scurrying around, and at least for a short period of time, I think people will use gold and silver, and it will be a form of nullification. Not official nullification, but if they have a currency like in Zimbabwe or Germany, I hope it never gets that bad, but it's conceivable that it would get that bad, that people should and probably will. And I think that's a lot of reasons why people do go and buy gold and silver coins, just for the fact that it's just not a few of us that understand what's happening in the monetary system.
The lobby system in Washington Do you think it's serving us well, or it's ruining our country?
What?
The lobbyists.
The lobbyists, oh, that's a good question. He asked about whether the lobbyists serve our interests. And the lobbyists are a big problem, but I don't see them as a problem the way a lot of other people see it, like we need more laws to regulate lobbyists. If you've ever called up your state representative and you call them up and say, you know, I want to see you, I want you to look at my views on schools or guns or something like that, you become a lobbyist. Lobbying is petitioning, and the First Amendment protects petitioning. So I don't want to regulate petitioners. I don't want to ever say that we'll interfere. You say, yeah, but people with the money, they control things, which there is some truth to that. But the problem there is that government is doing too much. They're acting outside the law, and therefore they have too much to offer, and the special interests do spend the money. So you need a different system of government, where the government has nothing to offer in that sense other than offering you more freedom. But if we had only people of high integrity in Washington, they wouldn't yield to that. They wouldn't listen to the lobbyists. You know, they say, look, I'm not going to listen to you. And quite frankly, you know, it's under the law today. If you're a lobbyist and you're special interests, you're allowed to donate to me. But I don't get any money from the lobbyists because they know what my positions are. So it's a big difference. So lobbying is a big problem, but that is a symptom of the size of government, and we're too much involved and too many favors can be